Welcome back to your Bestie in Freight, the podcast where we bring real people, real conversations, and the people who literally move America forward. And today episode is very special to me because sitting in front of me is a woman who inspired me to become a CDL driver. And today we are gonna talk about how she got started, what it is really like being a female CDL driver, what people don't tell you and how much you can make, and yes, what you eat at truck stop and how she actually lost weight on the road. So Carrie, thank you so much for joining me today. I'm so excited to have you here.
Thank you for welcoming me in.
How are you today? Are you resting in Florida?
I am. This is my week off. So
Nice.
I'm enjoying some home time, enjoying the fruits of everything we work for.
Yes, so hard, right? So,
Yes.
Carrie, let me go back. So, what made you decide to become a CDL driver?
Well, I started out as a school bus driver, which I think is pretty common. I started as a school bus driver because my mother was a school bus driver and I had some free time and she encouraged me to come and learn how to drive a school bus. And it's a pretty funny story how the the idea of becoming a truck driver. I was actually driving a school bus and I was waiting at a signal light and a truck driver came around the corner and he bumped my mirror. And he hopped out of his cab and he came walking up and he's like, "Oh, it's okay. This just pops back into place. They're meant to do that." So he popped my mirror back into place and he said, "I used to be a school bus driver too." And I was like, "Oh, cool. Okay." So he went on his way and it just kind of started that little seed of a thought. It's like, "Oh, maybe I should become a truck driver." So that kind of led me down that path and I started talking with a friend about it. I was like, I think I'm gonna look into truck driving school. And she looked into it and went and kind of walked the path before me like a couple of months. She's like, we were going to go to school together. And then she's like, well, I'm going to take off now because she didn't get this one job she was trying for. So
Yes,
ultimately, I went into truck driving or I went to truck driving school in the year 2000.
nice. So, what was the first year look like being as a truck driver, female?
I honestly would say it was one of the hardest things that I've ever done. I said I went to truck driving school in June and I was solo. I all on my own. I went to through two different trainers with the company that I had signed on. I signed on with Burlington Motor Carriers and I was with two different trainers. The second trainer was really great. He showed me some tricks and stuff, but after about I think like 6 weeks, I was on my own. And I've often said that I've cried more tears in that first year of truck driving than I did in my entire life. But it was amazing because I still drive by this one truck stop. It's in Orange, Texas, and it's a Petro, and I still look at that truck stop because that night that I came in, I was driving really late at night and I got to the truck stop and there was only like one parking spot left. And I was like, oh, and it was really tight and I was going to have to do this on my own. And I backed into the spot and I got in it right away. And I was like, I did a happy dance in my cab for like 20 minutes. I was so tired when I pulled in there, but I didn't go to sleep for like 2 more hours because I was so excited that I was able to finally, feel like I really knew what I was doing.
I know that feeling. First time when you back it up and you make it, so like you feel like I'm a powerful. I can do anything if I try.
Exactly. I
Yeah.
will say this though, when I was in truck driving school, I've often said like when I hit sixth gear, I knew I was where I was supposed to be. I definitely needed to go through that first year of training, the first 6 weeks of training with a trainer, plus, doing it on my own for a year really made me feel like I was where I was supposed to be. But I really still feel today, it's over 25 years later, and I still feel like that's where I'm supposed to be.
Nice, I love it. So I was gonna ask you, so it has been already 25 years you have been
Yeah.
driving. And back then there were not many female drivers, I believe, right? How was
No,
the experience?
no, there weren't too many. I mean, I think it's becoming more and more common. I hope it's becoming more and more common because there's really nothing that should hold women back from becoming a truck driver if that's what their dream is.
I agree. When I saw you doing it, you inspired me without knowing it, and you were kind of my motivation because before meeting you, I was thinking about it, but I was so scared. When I saw you doing it, and I got so inspired, and I started to believe that it is possible for women to do it.
I
So thank you
appreciate
for that.
that.
Yes.
Yes. You were so impressive to me too, taking it on the way that you did. It's like you coming to a new country and just like grabbing hold of every opportunity, and I see that in you so well. You are very curious about everything and very interested in learning so much, and I admire that about you.
Thank you, Carrie. Well, without tracking, I wouldn't be definitely where I am today, so I'm gonna be forever grateful. And I think being truck driver was the coolest thing I have ever done in my life. And I'm proud of it. I still renew my CDL every 2 years. I go to my medical exam, and I'm planning to keep it until the end of my life. And
I
sometimes,
know. I'm glad that you are. There's no reason not to because it's always such having that in your back pocket is just always such a feeling of security. It's a safety net. I mean, with truck driving, it's such a unique career path. It's not only, but I mean, not only will we all always have a job available to us, but we'll always have a home. I mean, you don't even really need a home when you're driving a truck. You live out of your truck if you wanted to. We
yes.
have a home and we like to come home and settle in, but I know I've seen plenty of drivers out there that just don't even keep a home and they just, stockpile money for retirement someday.
Yes, I like it. So, Kari, let me ask you this. What are the biggest challenges as a female truck driver, and do you feel respected on the road, on truck stops, on warehouses where you deliver?
I I do. I would say that it's still there's still time ahead, that I think it gets better. I've seen it over the course of 25 years, and I do feel that I'm respected on the road. I feel like you still get, even just the other day, I made a delivery and now I drive team with my husband. And that kind of leads to like when I go in and I'm driving and somebody will be like, oh, are you, do you drive alone? That's always the question. And I'm like, well, I have my husband. Oh, okay. So then automatically in their mind, your husband and my husband is great for the fact that he is the first one to tell anybody she trained me.
Yes,
She's
I
the
remember.
best driver that I know. She's the one who knows what she's doing because like I'll be backing into a spot and we always, for safety reasons, even if I know I can get into the spot no problem, we always stand outside of the cab for each other just in case there's something that you might miss. And he'll stand out there and people will be like, "Oh, she does pretty well for a woman."
Yes.
Those kind of comments. And it's like those kind of comments kind of tweak me. I'm like, for a woman. No, I do pretty well for anybody, not just a woman.
Yes, I like it. And I remember that you were the one who met your husband and inspired him to become a truck driver with you. I'm gonna go get back to that question. But I wanted to ask you, what advice would you give a woman thinking about getting her CDL? You kind of answered, but what would you add?
I would say just do it. I mean, don't let fear of big vehicles or, there are aspects that I think females really should be cautious of, but they're no different than everyday life as a female. It's like I think that, as women, we all know that we have to walk through the world a little bit differently than our male counterparts. We can't just, feel comfortable walking through dark parking lots and feel like everything is going to be fine. But I will say this, I have for 25 plus years walked through truck stop parking lots, and I do feel overall that in the world, the world is made up of good people, and that it's there's always going to be somebody looking out for you, but you have to take care of yourself. You have to be wise about, where you park the truck, or don't walk out alone, and trust your gut on things. But for the most part, I feel like going into this male dominated industry, I feel like we're becoming more and more welcome, you know?
I agree. Thank you, Kari. So let's talk about the pay and expectations because money is very important and everyone wants to know how much they can make. So let's talk money. What can a new CDL driver realistically expect to make in his or her first year?
I think that there are a lot of things that come into play with that. As a solo driver, it's a little more difficult because I definitely see the difference in driving from solo to driving as a team, because as a team, you can run the truck 24 hours a day and they don't have to worry about you're going to run out of hours before you can make your delivery. So I encourage people, if you have somebody in your life that you could see spending a significant amount of time with, I think team driving is the way to go by all means. But solo driving, I mean, there are some really good companies out there that, that cater to solos, and I think that you can realistically, I would say, make like $50,000 starting out. I think that that's pretty realistic as long as you are the type of person that's going to drive when there are miles to be driven. There are truck drivers that, spend their spend their lives with, stopping at truck stops and noodling around in the store, or, playing games or stopping at casinos and doing stuff like that. But take all of that out of the mix, I think that you could realistically start out making like $50,000.
Hmm. How about the experienced drivers and team drivers?
Yeah, team. I mean, with this company that we just started with, we're starting out at, as a team, 80 cents a mile, and we're doing at least 5,000 miles a week, but we usually will do a little bit more than that. So, yeah, I say that we usually each make about $75,000 a year
Yes.
easily.
Are you guys 1099 or W-2?
1099.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
amazing. Well, now let's get back to your husband, how you guys met and how you inspired him to become a truck driver with you. Tell us about it. And how is your relationship going? Is it small space?
Yeah, a lot of people think that, that we're together so much that we must be at each other's throats. But really, number one, I think that it comes down to, before I met Daryl, I had dated a lot of dated around, it was through my 20s I dated. And when I reached 30, I pretty much saw what was out there and kind of resigned myself that I was probably going to be single for the rest of my life, because there really wasn't a lot of quality people coming my way that at that time. But when I did meet Daryl, how I met him, I actually made a delivery at the factory that he was working at, and I saw a friend that had walked by, and so I went and I said hello to her, and we went out, and we had gone out and had a couple of drinks, and she was telling me about this guy that she wanted to fix me up with at her job, and I was like, oh well, okay, well, I'll go out on a date with him. What's the harm? And it really was, the conversation just flowed. We were perfectly matched, and I would say that we still are. We still are. There's nobody that I'd rather spend time with, for sure. But that being said, being in a cab, 24/7, it does wear on you, but I don't think that we're together really any more than most married couples are, because he is sleeping or I am sleeping. And if you consider the average married couple spends their 8 hours of a work day at work away from each other, and then they're together the rest of their time. And that's pretty much us. I'm sleeping or he's sleeping. Realistic, we're only awake together about 8 hours a day.
Yes.
So it
That's
works out well.
yes. So what is the secret to keeping your relationship strong on the road?
Um, it's having a person that doesn't take things so personally. Honestly, he is the most easygoing person I know,
It
and
is.
he ebbs where I flow, and he rolls with the punches, because I tend to be very direct when something's going wrong, and or we mess up a exit number or whatever, and I get frustrated, and he kind of rolls with it. So but most of all, just respect each other, and love each other, and work towards a common goal, which I think that we do very well.
Great. Thank you so much for that, Carrie. So let's make it more fun. What it looks like life in truck stop in reality. Can you please share more about truck stop?
The truck stops are, honestly, we are not the couple to ask on them, because we don't really spend a lot of time in the truck stops. We usually find that we have like one day off a week while we're on the road. And when we do have that day off, we will either spend it at a truck stop or we will get a hotel room. But for the most part, when we are working, we're working. We only stop at the truck stops to get fuel or to take our shower or to take our half-hour break. We don't really spend a lot of time. We don't go into restaurants. I usually will cook a lot. I have like a little mini freezer on the truck. It's about the size of a mini refrigerator, and I'm able to store like 3 weeks worth of dinners in that freezer. So a lot of times, like when I come home, I restock my freezer out in my garage with meals for him and for me, and we just we rotate our food like that. We stop for a half-hour break, we pop our microwave meal, the things that I cook into the microwave, and we're down the road and making
Yeah.
more money.
That's good. I was actually gonna ask my next question about weight loss because I know you lost a lot of weight while driving on the road, and many truck drivers struggle with their health issues, they gain weight. So, can you share a little bit more about your weight loss journey, how much you lost it, and what helped you lose weight without moving that much, just like with diet, I would say, right?
Yes. Yeah, I mean, weight is going to forever be a struggle of my life. I've gone up and down through the years. I've tried so many different things. I think the thing that started me off. I went to like a meal replacement program first. I had lost like over 100 pounds with that. I lost like 165 pounds with that. And then I just got to the point where I was just like eating packaged food all the time, and I just was so tired of it, and I wanted to go to different things. And then I think anybody who struggles with weight is familiar with, then you're counting points, or you're counting macros, or you're exercising where you can, and it's really just all around doing it all and just never stop trying, and that's pretty much where I am now. It's like I go through stages. Right now I'd say that I'm puffier than I would like to be, but hopefully in 6 months I'll be less than that. And I just do the best that I can when I'm day to day, just like everybody fighting that battle.
Yes, I agree, everybody. So what are you eating? How do you avoid all these like truck stop food? You said that you meal prep,
I
but
do.
yes, what are you
Yeah.
eating?
I
Most-
do. I meal prep. I mainly focus on like lower carb meals. Like I will make a big pot of soup. I'll make a big pot of chili. I'll do like chicken and peppers and stir fry and different stuff like that, and just kind of stay away from carbs for the most part. But I'm far from perfect. There are weeks like I'm just the past couple of weeks I have just not been able to get a foothold. I'm like, oh, after the first of the year I'm gonna be gung ho, but it has not turned out to be that way. I've just been stressed and just, not really wanting to focus on it. And I've kind of said, okay, Valentine's Day is the day. After Valentine's Day, we're going to start fresh again. And that's what we're focusing on now. And my husband is the perfect partner in that too. It's like he'll jump on board when we're eating healthy, and then he'll be celebrating when we're not, because he loves eating not healthy. So, he's pretty much in it for wherever my focus is. So,
Yeah, that's amazing. And I'm gonna remember one thing. So when I just moved to America, first chili I ate, it was made by you. I never knew about chili and it's
really?
very flavory. Yes, I remember one night you invited us near the fire pit and you made chili. It was smelling for me. That time it was smelling weird because it was different flavor, but
Yes.
I loved the taste. But now I love chili, so
Oh my goodness, that's so
very,
funny. I
yeah,
remember that too. I enjoy having you over.
yes.
It was nice having you live next door. I wish you still did.
Well, maybe we should meet again in real life,
Yes,
hopefully, because
yes.
now we are both in Florida. Why not, right?
I know. I'm so glad that you moved back down to Florida and came to your senses.
Yeah,
Nobody should be living up north in that
I
cold.
agree. I honestly don't know why I went back to Massachusetts because like here is where I belong, but I think God and universe has this way of like rerouting you back where you have to be, where you
Right,
to be. Yeah. So now here I
right.
am again in Florida, and I think there is no better place than Florida, so I'm gonna stay here.
Yes, yes. The sunshine definitely raises the spirits.
That's for sure. So before we move forward, I want to thank you, our sponsor, Digital Permit Book, for sponsoring these episodes. If you are a tracking company and you're still running around with paper binders, compliance folders, and stack of documents in your truck or office, it is 2026 and Digital Permit Book helps you automate your compliance, organize your documents electronically, and keep everything clean, simple, and accessible without the paper chaos. So please check them out. And
I use Digital Permit Book actually, and this is the first company that I've been using them with, and I absolutely love that.
oh, really? I didn't
So
know
con-
that. You see?
so convenient. Yes, if you're ever missing something, you can just put a call into the company, and it's like instantly right on your phone. Everything is so great.
Yes, and the CEO of the company, he is amazing. He also had the tracking company, and I think he still has. That's what inspired him to start a digital permit book. So he went all of these struggles that every tracking company and drivers go through. So
Yes,
it's definitely very helpful tool.
very helpful.
How you were doing before, like 25 years ago? I believe it was these paper binders, right? That the wind is like throwing it
Oh
away.
yeah. Yeah, it was like coloring books. You just made up your stories in them. Yeah, it was crazy. It's wild to think. I fought going to like automatic logs and all of that. I was old school truck driving. I didn't want that, that, but it really, I have embraced it because, the electronic logs have made life so much easier and so much safer too, because I know me and I might have pushed a little bit where I shouldn't have, but there are drivers out there that were like not getting any sleep and just like
Right,
running three
right.
log books and and just really it's so much safer. It really is. And that's what it's all about. You have to have, not only there's so many companies struggling to find drivers, but it's not just about finding a driver. You want safe drivers
I
because
agree.
everybody outside of the trucking industry deserves that on the road as well.
I agree. But also, I would say that everybody outside of industry needs to understand and respect truck drivers because I have seen so many accidents that these smaller trucks cause.
Yeah,
Respecting, they have to be careful and understand that this is a heavy vehicle. It's difficult for them to brake and to maneuver. So they need to be very
absolutely.
cautious.
And
Yeah.
thank you for saying that because that is so true. That is so true. There's so many people that just the insanity of like they'll just, get in front of you and slam on their brakes just because they're mad because they don't want to be looking at the back of you. And it's like you are taking I say all the time, yeah, I've saved about 5 people's lives today because they're just doing stuff that is stupid
I
and
agree.
it's like you have to save them from themselves and
Yeah.
it's really not fair to the truck driver, but it is what we deal with out here all the time.
I agree. It's not fair for the truck driver, and as you say, you as a truck driver trying to save their life, but they don't respect you. And you as a truck driver, if there is an accident, 99% of the time you're gonna be fine. You're gonna be alive. Maybe
Exactly.
you will have some criminal case or court procedures, but like you're not gonna die. But these smaller truck driver car drivers, they are not safe, but they don't think about it. They just like
Yeah,
hit you and close your road. So I always, mention this in my episode that we, as a small car drivers, we need to be very cautious about CDL. I always respect CDL drivers, and I never get mad at them. I would just park and wait 5 minutes until they do what they are supposed to do because I know what it takes. I know how stressful it gets, especially when you are blocking the road. Everyone is mad at you, and you are trying to get out, but you cannot because you are big. You are big.
right,
So,
right. Thank
especially in
you, thank
cities.
you for saying that.
Yes. So, Carrie, let's now ask you some rapid fire questions, not thinking too much, okay? Just
Okay.
fast. So, your favorite truck stop snack?
Favorite truck stop snack. Oh, I'm being honest, an ice cream cone.
Who doesn't love
Ice cream
ice cream cone?
cooler. I'm an ice cream girl.
Me too. Coffee or energy drink?
Neither. I've never drank coffee and I don't drink energy. I don't drink anything carbonated anymore, surprisingly. I've got to say I drink occasionally like once a day I'll drink a Gatorade Zero. But other than that, I'm just water and I feel like that is so important,
Very
especially as
important.
drivers. Get your water in.
Get your water, get hydrated, drink your
Right.
electrolytes. I am with you on that one. So next one, of course I know the answer, but I'm gonna ask mountains or flat highway.
Oh, flat highway for sure.
I knew that answer.
Mountains for vacations, they're beautiful to look at, but dealing
Yes,
with a
not for
truck,
driving.
no, flat roads.
One thing people would be shocked to know about tracking.
I think that you touched on it is just, the amount of people that just are unaware of their surroundings and the amount of times that we as professional drivers have saved your life
Yes.
just because you're not aware.
Okay. If you were not a truck driver, what would you be?
Oh, I really, in my 20s, I worked in like group homes with handicapped adults, and I think about doing that. I also think when I retire from truck driving, because we probably will in the next 7 years or so, I may go back into school bus driving. I really think that that is probably where I will lean towards, is going into school bus driving.
Yes, I love it. I always love female school bus drivers. Mostly they are females, and it's good
Yeah.
taking care of the kids. Well, Carrie, thank you so much. This was so special for me to reconnect again. We haven't talked for a long time, and just had these feelings that I have to invite you and reconnect. And I wanted to share your story because you are like active on Facebook, but not on LinkedIn or other platforms. I want people to know how it is to be a truck driver and give you more respect of what you are doing. And I'm so inspired. This conversation again reminded me how inspired I am from you, what you have, done all these years, working 25 years. I know it hasn't been easy to do. So thank you so much for that. And thank you again for our sponsor, Digital Permit Book, for sponsoring this episode. And if you found value in this episode, share it with someone who has been thinking about getting a CDL driver. Thank you, Carrie, again for joining me, and I will see you on the next one.
Thank you.
Thank you, Carrie. Bye.
Bye bye.